wanna get high, man?
Let's stimulate your mind.
Get up, Chucky! What have we got here? A fucking comedian.
Rojan Kim.
California dreaming.
Hello, and welcome to the Rojan Kimcast. It's me, Rojan Kim. Thank you for joining me this Friday, the 24th of Avril. Avril Lavigne. Thank you so much for all that you've done. Who could forget such hits like, I can't think of a single Avril Lavigne song. That's probably for the best. It's probably for that. It would be weird if I could just rattle it, boom, 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 if I was just naming off deep cuts and shit like that. That would be... Is that weird? Am I a judgmental? What am I? What's wrong with me? What am I, a boomer? What's wrong with me? Huh? What am I? What am I? What am I? What am I? That's what I ask my dad all the time on Kakao Talk, which is a Korean platform for communicating amongst other Koreans. Communicating spelled with a K. It's questionable marketing in the United States with the KKK thing, but in Korea, it's a huge hit. I may be sponsored by that. This episode of the Rojan Kimcast is brought to you by the KKK. And then I have to, of course, be like, no, not the Ku Klux Klan, but the Kakao Korean communication app. I gotta work on that. I gotta pitch it. I gotta pitch it to the Kakao board, and then they'll just be like, get the security. They wouldn't even have accents. They would just push button. Honestly, I don't think they would even talk to me. They would be like, why is this wild homeless man? What is he doing in Seoul? And why is he at the Kakao corporate headquarters? Again, with a K. Weirdly, Koreans like to spell things with K's, just because. I guess, if Korea used to be spelled with like C, so I guess we would be super into C's as well, like Chick Korea. Isn't that a guy's name? That's a guy's name. Jazz guy. Yeah, that's a jazz man's name. I wonder if he went to Korea. That would be weird. Korea. And then you like play maybe a concert there. You could play a concert there. And then that would be that. Wow, he could have brought peace to Korea instead of what we have now. What we have now is still a continuation of just like it's like putting off. First of all, I think I've said before, like the Korean Wars is the birth of the military-industrial complex as its own entity, right? Because we had this massive machine built after World War II, and that was for a good reason, right? That was to fight the Japanese who bombed us at Pearl Harbor, to fight the Nazis who are killing Jews amongst others. Okay, not just Jews. I forgot really. What if that became my thing? The thing would be like 11 million died. There were 11 million, not just 6. All right, that's. I don't know what else I got going for me. Look, stand-up's over. Stand-up is gone. It's over. Stand-up. Oh, God. I think maybe it's time for me to be honest about it's getting squirrely, I'm getting squirrely. I haven't done stand-up for a couple months now. It's a long time. And now it's not by choice. Sometimes it's by choice. Sometimes I'll go stretches, months. I've gone months. But it was always there, It's always there, just like an alcoholic knows that the booze is always there. And there's something secure about that. I guess that means you're truly not cured. And I'm not cured. I admit all the time. The whole reason I do it is because I'm a sick person, right? I just didn't want to become a sick person physically. So I guess, the mental sickness is what just continues on. And that's fine. I'm not going to fucking kill myself or anybody, I don't think. I don't know. Am I the right person to make that? That's actually, kind of funny, right? We all go, hey, I would never do that, but I guess you're like the last person to ever really make that call, as much as you go, I would never snap. But snapping is not like voluntary, I think it's other people will probably be like, yeah, he looked like he was going to snap. He seems like a snapper. He's one of those guys that you just feel it. Overall, I don't feel too tense, anxious. You know what I'm saying? Nobody in my immediate family is sick, or my friends. It's kind of like a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type thing right now. 6 degrees of Corona bacon. But, I think what's more worrisome is going to be what the fuck's going to happen after this, Like however long this takes to, flatten the curve or whatever the fuck we're doing. What's going to happen after? Well, and so that's it. We don't know. That's the whole thing. We don't know. All I know is that as an American, I want to know now. I want it now. I want to know what is going to happen right now. I would like very much to talk to somebody who is in charge here and get some answers, right? Don't you think we deserve answers as Americans? We deserve answers, and we deserve them now. Now, I say. We deserve them now. Why can't we get them now? It's strange, right? The rubber has met the road in terms of American exceptionalism, in terms of the infinite growth paradigm, in terms of the idea that you just live check to check. Yeah, you really can. And tie health insurance to employment as if employment will always be there. It's kind of an absurd concept, right? Because the people who need health care the most are retired and shit. So what? But by then they should have the money, I guess, right? That's what we're saying, but why not just make it as expensive as fuck? It doesn't matter. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck, right? But all is not lost, okay? All is not lost, because I think the very fact that Americans do want it, and they want it now, is going to lead to some interesting movements politically in this country. I think what we're going to see is the death of the Democratic Party after this election, whoever they pick. I guess they could come with somebody really crazy. Obama again. They got Michelle Obama. It's like somebody, but I think they, meaning by they I mean establishment Democrats, like the rich ones, rich Democrats. I think they can see the writings on the wall in terms of there's a little tumble. There's going to be a tumble. We're going to take a little tumble. Country's going to take a little tumble, isn't it? It kind of has already. And I guess it's really about how big a tumble. How big a tumble? Now, I just wonder, for so long people have been saying, it's all going to come crashing down. It's all going to collapse. That's what happened in 2008, right? We're about to collapse there, and they're like, "Yeah, it's gonna happen." And then we just pumped all the money into the thing, propped it back up, got it back up, and then people are just saying it's just gonna crash again because none of the things have been fixed. So it seems like none of the fundamental aspects of our economy were fixed after the 2008 financial crash, so that things will crash again, or at least that's what people say. But people have also been saying this since we went off gold. Maybe this is the time. Now, it's finally now. Or is it? I don't know. That's the thing. Maybe you just can't bet against the USA, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we're just going to make it. Maybe we're going to make it no matter what. Somehow, some way. Because God and Lord Jesus is smiling down on us. I don't know. Is that so? Do you think that's true? That's true. Well, I think it's also kind of silly to think of America at this point as a complete monolith. I think it is still, and maybe that's part of the problem. It's weird. People have been calling the alarms about, all right, you can't have guns and butter, right? Remember last time? Last time I was like, I can't have guns and butter. They've been saying this forever. The reason why is the shit comes crashing down. We're like, nah, it's not. No, it's not. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But what I do know is that we can't let the uncertainty, the anxiety from the uncertainty, it brings up a lot of emotions. And these emotions are triggered. They're triggered by fear. They're triggered by survival. They're triggered by things that harken everybody back to instinctual behavior. And instinctual behavior, a lot of it is rooted in childhood and evolution, right? Things you can't really just control. Things you have no control over. Even though you have this cerebral cortex, it's fucking brain. That's thoughts. That's thoughts about itself. Fucking narcissist, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what kind of thing is all these thoughts about it? You know, we're so weird. Ew. Like, it thinks about itself and thinks about things that don't exist and things that do exist and combining them and things, you know, it comes up with sounds for things that don't exist, like justice, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. That wasn't me, some kind of swipe at the justice system, which I guess it could have been. Maybe it was better if I just left it that way. I'm just talking about conceptually. With these brains, right? These brains, what do we do with them, right? In the brains, they sometimes will fire off emotions because we come from a lizard. We come from lizards and monkeys. You know, let's just, I mean, as much as I want to go down with the whole God made us in his own image and all that stuff, I feel like there's enough evidence to show that we have an evolutionary pathway that goes way back, you know, and it kind of makes sense. A lot of the instinctual behaviors are the same across animals, us included. So it makes a lot of sense. So we got a lizard brain, you know. We got a lizard brain that goes, that reacts, that runs. We got a monkey brain that wants to just, you know, hoard, fight, you know, be deceptive, conniving, right? All those things, right, in order to survive using the brain. And I feel like at some point, you got to just fucking pull it together, everybody. That's what I think. That's my message. My message to humanity is pull it together, people. I wish I guess if Trump did it, could you imagine if Trump was like, pull it together, people? My message to America is pull it together. That would be hilarious. The news would be like, Trump tells America to pull it together. My wife is dying on a ventilator. You're telling me to pull it together. Yeah, because emotion sells. I'll tell you what, man. Emotion is just a cha-ching. You know, you can just really manipulate people and sell stuff. You really can, and that's really the big part of what I feel like. In some ways, it's our biggest industry right now. It's what's sustaining us. I mean, maybe in a way we can't get rid of it. Just like we can't get rid of oil. Oil is sustaining us, guys. You know? And you know what else is? Fucking clicks. Clicks are sustaining us. Clicks, eyeballs, ratings. Yeah, just attention. You know? We need attention. Even from the rest of the world. We're monetizing it, right? If we globalize the clicks. If it's not just American clicks. The clicks around the world. Clicks around the whole planet. The whole planet. Imagine if there were other worlds. Imagine if there were other worlds across the galaxy and we could get their clicks. Imagine. That's why we should get space travel. That's why we should start putting together the best scientists, the best engineers, coming up faster than light, warp drive technology, some kind of engine based on physics that, that particle physics. I don't know. Why not put the money into it, right? Put the money into it. Find these other planets. Find the people on them. Get them hooked up with some Spectrum cable, internet for like $70. Oh, what a deal. Get them hooked up. You get that market and get those clicks. You get those clicks, you get them hooked on the Trump machine. The methadone, the morphine drip that is Trump versus the media, right? And then it's just a self-sustaining thing. And then just more people, and then people on planet, or I don't know if they're people. I guess it's very, whatchamacallit, alienist. You're an alienist. I don't know what you would call that. They're going to come up with a word for the people racist again. Xenophobic, but even that, I don't know, that's not quite. Whatever. They're going to put me in jail because I said, of course, fucking aliens. I shouldn't call them that, or I don't know if they're people. And it doesn't matter. We need their clicks. That's really what it comes down to. Space travel. Clicks. All right. I want to talk a little bit about emotions. I've got them. You've got them. The lizard brain I was just talking about, it's got them. The lizard brain emotions are interesting, right? Because it is just very kind of large, gross movements. Ah! Ah! Or, ah! Just like very survival. Yeah, fucking, eating, running away from stuff, things that feel good, things that feel bad. It's very, what one might call the id, one being Freud, that coke-loving Austrian motherfucker. All right, I don't know why I do that. And then you got this sort of, so that's like supposed to be the limbic system, right? You got your limbic system, and then you got the brain above that is like the cerebellum. It's kind of like the monkey brain, the mammalian brain, the brain that evolved to have a mama and because lizards don't have mamas, you like the mama thing and the milk thing and the baby experience shaping later experience and all that stuff. The sort of the social aspect of wanting to cuddle, dogs have monkey brains. You know what I'm saying? That's why I call my dog a monkey. You know what I'm saying? He's basically a monkey because he's not a wolf anymore. Dogs are basically essentially a form of a monkey. It's kind of a humanoid animal, wolf, canine humanoid hybrid. You know what I'm saying? Because it knows words. Some of them do. It can work. The dogs now are just fucking, I don't know, useless, right? Most dogs are just pets as dogs. But back in the day, dogs were used for their, people just fucking used the fuck out of dogs. You didn't have to pay them. And they were happy to do it. They were happy to do it because they were fucking eating and getting love and, whatever else. Sometimes they're getting beaten, right? There was no ASPCA back then. There weren't even any kennels or pounds. I think people just threw dogs away or killed them. If it got bad, they would eat them, Just because Asians do it doesn't mean other people didn't do it. Don't hate till you tried it. It's supposed to be delicious. It's supposed to be delicious, guys. Anyways, speaking of delicious things, emotions are delicious. And emotions, all right. What do I want to talk about? I'm noticing a similarity, a thread. I like to pick at threads, okay? Threads like, for instance, I've noticed a thread through comedy, fighting, and now trading on the market. Not that I know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just fucking doing it for fun. Simulated. No. So it's not even real. It's not even real, right? The real pros are like, even $100, fucking trading is more worth it than simulating. And I totally understand because that's just like with jiu-jitsu or something, it's like until you get in and actually do it, it's just not the same. So I get it. But what I've noticed, reading fucking books or whatever and going through what all the people are saying about and having personal experience in, I guess, jiu-jitsu, not fighting per se, but also listening to people talk about fighting. And then comedy, I guess, is the only thing I actually have experience in. Guys, 9 years in, and the fucking pandemic comes and stand-up comedy is over. 9 years. I think, though, it was worth it. Because it was really for me. Again, it was for the sickness. You know what I mean? I didn't need antidepressants the whole time. So I think that's a win for me. The next 10 years, God love you guys. I hope I'm okay. I worry for you. I'm not worried about me. I'll have no idea. I worry about you guys if I started getting manic or something. I started going on a manic episode. Imagine this, but unhinged off the hook. I'm just like, yeah, and they're coming, and they're fucking up. What if I just started watching the news or something? Really just became, What do you think the right move is? Do you think I should be like Fox News type analyst? Do you think I should be like, and today, Nancy Pelosi, she thinks that she has the liberals on her side and the liberal left? Well, she's just a corporatist. And I'll be, should I be one of those guys? Should I talk like that? Should I do that? and then what I think, Tulsi Gabbard, she's neither here nor there. A fence there has no place in American society right now because it's good versus evil. And I think if you're not on the side of good, it doesn't matter what fence you're on, I call that fence evil. I don't know, something like that. I think I would make a lot of money, millions of dollars. I think what I should do is go become pro-Trump. And then if Trump loses, go be like tail between my legs and be like, I was wrong. Like all those Republicans now who used to be like pro-Bush, like David Frum and shit, like now they're all anti-Trump and they're like, we were wrong about, that would be, you make money both ways. You make money on the way up, money on the way down, just like in trading. Huh? You can do that with comedy too. In comedy, you can get laughs on the way up, get laughs on the way down, right? I guess, and fighting is the same. You can fucking score or submit or even knock out your opponent on the way up, on the way down, forward, backwards. When you see the way in one thing, you'll see it in all things. I think that's what Miyamoto said. That's a paraphrase of Miyamoto Musashi, okay, who single-handedly murdered 60 people. Okay, so I defer to him. All I'm saying is that, like, something about those things, and perhaps all things, maybe this is really the key. In all things, there's, I guess, a limit to which your performance is affected by your emotions, because you can't cut them out. Unless you're a sociopath, which actually kind of makes sense why sociopaths do so well, because you could turn that shit off and then just kind of just make decisions. You know what I'm saying? And then fuck, you'd be an excellent comedian, you'd be an excellent fighter, you'd be an excellent trader, you'd be an excellent. I mean, you'd be a lot of good things. You would probably. Why isn't the whole world run by sociopaths? I wonder. Is it because they are already? I feel like the first sociopaths way back in the day, they just locked it down. Why? Wouldn't you just lock it down back in the day when nobody knew it? When you were just like, yeah, there's no God. Everybody believes in God. Literally everybody believes in God or gods. And there's motherfucking sociopaths who, I guess, let's just call them visionaries, right? Who are just like, yeah, I'm just going to use this whole God thing to just get ahead. There's no real God thing. I'm just going to get, and then they would get ahead, they'd spread their genes, and there you go. That's why we have more of them now. And I'm sure they didn't necessarily, being sociopaths, care about their offspring. So now you just unleash the sociopaths with, bad parenting under their belts and bad childhoods into the population. Let them spread. God bless them. God bless them. And that's what I say. God bless them. Because I could be one. I don't know. You could be one. You don't know. I mean, and sociopath isn't necessarily a bad thing. Listen, sociopath, sure. The movies make them look bad with the American Psycho and the Psycho and all the Psycho movies. Okay, I get it. But that's just one end of sociopathy. And sociopathy, so it's a spectrum. Am I saying it's a spectrum? It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. And I'm not just saying it's a spectrum that you either have or don't have. Okay, it's not binary like that. Everybody is capable of sociopathy because it's part of strategy for survival, for living. Once in a while, you gotta have to do the thing you gotta do to live, and that's the ones who couldn't do it didn't make it, and the ones who did. And that's why we can do the things we do. That's why we have things like triage. That's why we have things. We just have things. We can, when it comes down to it, we can get there. That's why we've had Nazis and Japs and all the experimenting going on. This is Tuskegee experiment. It's not like we're fucking innocent either. That's why that can happen, because we could just some people could just turn it off, and that's fine. But we can't. I think maybe what happens is those people get murdered or killed. I mean, people just rise up against. Most people are like, this guy sucks when you find him out, root him out, or you get on board. I mean, that's what the social sociopath is the one who succeeds in that instance, right? Because if you're isolated, they'll all gang up on you. But if you got a squad and get the squad to get other people, and make it look like we care about people, we're doing it for the people, for us. It's not a bad strategy. But unfortunately for me, I'm not a sociopath. God damn it. If I was, I would be so much richer and successful, probably, or dead, or have had at least a few kills under my belt. Something, I think. I think I definitely would have been more successful as a serial killer than I am now. I've only got 2, okay? And that's not, I shouldn't have said that. I'm kidding. I have not murdered anybody. I'll put that out there right now. I am not responsible for any deaths or murders. Well, okay, I could walk back that all right, I've gone too far. What am I fucking talking about? All right, emotions. It's natural to be emotional in times of stress. I think that's what I'm talking about with the lizard monkey brain, that all that stuff, the sort of id aspects, even the ego, super ego. I don't really believe in the trifecta like that. It's like the Holy Trinity and shit. You know what I mean? It's like again, and it's kind of just a spin off of the Greek appetites, heart, brain sort of paradigm thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm, whatever. I'm just saying, in times of stress. Fuck the pandemic. Imagine there wasn't a pandemic and you're just stressed out. Whatever the stress is, you're heightened. Everything's heightened. You know what I'm saying? Even if you just take a psychedelic you've never taken before, and you say you've taken a heroic dose of some mushrooms, and you're like, oh boy, and you're feeling, like your rational side is no longer with you, and then what happens? A lot of instinct takes over. At some point, you may freak out, run, and start breaking things. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it just depends on the person. At another point, you might just be like, freeze and just roll. I better just lay down. You better just lay down and let it, which I recommend, just lay down, and just let it wash over you. It's a ride. It's going to end. We find, that's sort of your higher brain. Try just for 1 second, just being like, this is all you got to do. Just do this and you'll be fine. And listening to that higher brain, maybe you have a connection with it. Maybe you've just been training what to do in times of stress. Just lie down, take a breather, right? It's not a bad thing to do. So it's easy for that to come up, especially now, right? This is a time of stress. Easy for these emotions to come up. Easy to be heightened. Easy to have weird fights. Easy to just be like, easy to have weird, have weird things where I'm like, I think I, for one, am getting antsy, like I said earlier, right? I've been doing stand-up for a while. And then, I noticed this morning there's a thing, I'd be like, hey, you know what's funny to Raimi? And I'll say something, and she'd be like, huh? And then I'd be like, what's wrong with you? I'd be like, I'd be like, this crowd sucks. That's sort of the way I'm acting, like, fuck, you get that shit was hilarious. It's because I miss it. Miss miking, miss comedy, sure. Trying not to, the only person I talk to I can't just try bits out on people I talk to, and the only person I talk to has heard it all, so I can't do that. So getting to a point where it's getting freaky, right? What's going to happen? What's going to happen, guys? Well, I don't know. We'll see. There's only so much people can take. There's only so much that can happen. But I do feel like, especially in times of duress like this, got to try to be aware of what the monkey brain wants and what the lizard brain wants, and you got to commune with them. You know what I'm saying? I try to meditate every day. I'm not better than anyone. I suck at it. I forget half the time meditate. I'm like, I suck. I fucking suck, man. But I try to do it. And I feel like it's helped. It's helped in terms of realizing that, like, I am doing that. The fuck? I stop it. There's a whole thing in trading. It says, like, you got to know when you're in a bad trade, and just be like, people just become a sociopath right then. Just be like, cut your losses, because emotions form connections, right? Emotions come from the monkey brain, the mammal brain, right? And so then it likes to form ties, and then it starts to invest in ties. So no, I got to hold on to this. And there's a reason for that, because out of survival. But when it comes to things like, let's say, trading. Say you pick a stock, it starts going down, you're like, nah, I got, I'm good right now, it's gonna, and you double down, you're like, I know it's gonna go up, so I'm gonna buy more because I know it's gonna go up, right? And you're picking a loser, it's going down, you're like, I know, yeah, and so everything in your brain is just telling you, you gotta double down, you gotta stick with it, you don't betray your friends, and that's the monkey brain. You'll be able to be like, nope, goodbye. Same thing with fighting. Same thing with jiu-jitsu, right? You got to know when to let go of certain moves. When a submission, sometimes you go in for that triangle. I mean, I don't, because I have low flexibility, stubby legs. I don't feel like I'm a triangle type of guy. Okay, well, sometimes I'll go for like a guillotine, or sometimes I'll go for a choke, right? And it's, you keep going. You invest in it, emotionally invest in it. You go for it, and next thing you know, you're fucking tired. Next thing you know, you're being swept. Next thing you know, the guy's on top of you, he's got your back. A choke, and you're so tired. And you're like, and you tap out, right? Comedy's the same way. Comedy. One of my worst bombs was, I know. It was fucking New York. It was a bar filled. A very wide range of people, old, young, black, white, Asian. Just a big mix, big old mix. Well-to-do, and full. And they were all paying attention, and I just did not connect, and they did not like what I was saying, and it just was not going well from the get-go. And I knew it, and I don't know, I just stuck, instead of disengaging and be like, hey, what's going on here, guys? Which I would do now. Well, I can't anymore. But if this was another reality where there was still live entertainment, I would do that. I would disengage and be like, what's going on here? Hello, hi, ma'am, you look like you hate me. This is... because that's funny to me too. Now, back then it wasn't, because I was like, I'd be too emotionally invested in doing well or my jokes or whatever that is, and letting go of those things in the moment, knowing when to let go in the moment, and then returning perhaps to it was sort of part of what I was getting the hang of this year. I feel like heading into year 10, that's really what would have been my sort of... I feel like I'm getting my black belt, I feel like I have a brown belt, at least. Brown belt, I feel like, is sort of doing it at will, right? That's, I don't know, that's to me as a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And I feel like, okay, I get what that means now. I feel like I'm like a brown belt in comedy, where I'm like, okay, I get, you know what I mean? I feel like I could do stand-up at will. I may not be good or great at it, but I feel like I could, if I was pushed onto stage, I could start doing it. Start coming back, or at least I'd fumble my way through. I could still ad-lib my way through. You know what I mean? Like I could do that, right? And I felt like I was just about to hit that black belt level, which doesn't mean complete mastery. No, of course not. Using the metaphor of jiu-jitsu belts, black belts, sort of like the beginning of the journey of where you are learning who you are and what your jiu-jitsu is, right? It's like you learn jiu-jitsu, and then you learn what your jiu-jitsu is. And I feel like that's the same thing with comedy. You learn what comedy is, and then you learn what your comedy is and who you are as a comedy person, right? The whole thing with Seinfeld saying that, like, the time period that you've done comedy is sort of your comedy age, the maturity as a human being, as a comic human being that you are. So I was 9, cut short at age 9. God, it's kind of like life, because in life it was like 8, 9 where the fucking the shit really hit the fan for me, where I found out about my real mom and fucking dad just fucking left me at my aunt's place, he'd know. Actually, my dad left me at his aunt's place, and then she ended up calling my aunt and was like, you got to take this kid. That's when I was at 8, and then whatever, the whole time period, you know what I'm saying? So it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, and at 8 years into comedy, I was feeling similarly raw. Right? Similarly, I felt just like I had found out about my real mom. It's just like if that comedy child had found out about its real mom, that its real mom wasn't improv. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know how far to take that metaphor, guys. And I don't know how far to take this podcast. I think I can. It's disembark right here. Guys, it has been great. Another great week. Another great week in the books, guys. I think we're hanging in there. We're doing great, but it is getting time where people are getting antsy, and it is time to really do a better job of looking at the data. It's none of this fucking partisan shit. This fucking partisan shit is driving me up the wall. It's like I can't. It's just like there's this article in the New York Times that was just like, isn't it great how the conservative leader of Australia and the progressive leader of New Zealand are working together to fight the pandemic? Like, yeah, isn't that great? New York Times, isn't that great? To media, Democrats, everybody, isn't that great? Wouldn't that be great if we just work together? Come on, we do it. That's why you can't rely on those motherfuckers, right? That's why in light of what may seem doom and gloom, I'm actually quite hopeful. And not necessarily for the collapse of the United States, which may or may not happen. We have no idea what that'll mean, because it'll come down to local. Again, local. And because of that, massive paradigm shift coming, right? Centralized food, no good. Centralized government, no good. Centralized air conditioning, it's pretty good. I could use them. I'm kind of sweaty right now. I don't know if you can tell. If you're watching the live stream, no one is. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Road to Kimcast. Follow me online. Follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast, Stitcher, Google, Apple, Spotify. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, goodbye.